Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing Davido's comments. I think I have a caller on the phone. Good morning, you're live.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead. Mr. Kunle.
Thank you very much. I heard what Topper said and what Miriam said. And it is important for us to recognize something. Now, every country sells itself. A lot of crime goes on in South Africa, but what we see on DSTV is listing PayPal and the accusations and things like that. Now, if we go out and say some of these negative things, when next Topper shows up outside and they show her attitude, it will be because they have heard what Davido said about her. Not about her personally, but about what she represents and where she's coming from. So this is why it is important. Why these things are true, we discuss it here. But when we go out there, there is something we need to project that helps all of us. Thank you.
Okay, so I think I'd probably like to lean on what Mariam said earlier. There are different ways of looking at this story. There's one way, which is what Nima said earlier. Yes, there's a social responsibility that we all must have as citizens. The truth is that the average African-American will talk to you and about black racism, about how there's white supremacists, how the Ku Klux Klan is still ravaging certain parts. And it doesn't mean that those of us outside in are not saying, and we choose not to see that part of it. We all just want to go to America. But if you spoke to an African-American, he's constantly discussing about racism, how he can't get up, he can't push through that glass ceiling, because that's his reality.
He's not telling.
But it's not being
outside.
So we see it in the movies, it's shown in the movies, but the same thing is how it's being portrayed. So they're in different ways. African-Americans complain. We also, as citizens, complain. However, at a certain level, do you see an Oprah Winfrey at that level because she has that kind of leverage, she has that kind of access? Would you see at that level? So Davido is at that level. Yes, an African-American can complain. You and I can complain on our Twitter page and scream about Nigeria, how it's horrible. But if somebody at that level of a Davido says it, it means a whole totally different thing. So, and that's where I'm seeing where you're coming from. But where you're coming from is that why should we stop anybody, even if it be Oprah? Because Oprah too had a perspective. She had a perspective when it came to having the she had her own perspective.
Yeah, but at what table?
She spoke about it.
Where?
So, hold on, calm down.
Because you don't watch. You're selective. We're doing selective analysis. There are so many Black American, even white American movies that talk about the corruption and the rot. Loads of them that if you watch it, you'll be like, so this happens. I watched many medical series that you watch, you realize that Nigeria is not that bad. They also have several medical crises, several medical accidents that happen, several cover-ups that happen in American hospitals, documented in their movies. They don't lie about it. Let's not make it look like because one movie quoted it and ended positively.
We're responding to movies.
No, let me land, please. Several American movies that portrayed how bad America is.
So,
there are several American celebrities that have spoken up about how corrupt and how bad things are.
If you allow
let's not pick and say this because there are some that are positive. This one we should not hear one that's negative. And in the video, you could feel his pain. Like don't weird. I went to
that's the marketing. Talk about Parivoni. That itself is the marketing. I wanted to talk before we came back.
And the host, probably caught me in because I was actually trying to make a point. I was building somewhere.
Yeah.
I was trying to say, at a certain level, there are different areas, there are different responsibilities we take on. Exactly. For example, I remember I was documented back in the time of during the World War, where America's movies were focused deliberately, intentionally, to talk about their boys in the war, how they were being killed. What that did for Americans, it made them feel some kind of empathy for their people, and that's when the American dream of our boys are coming home. People started believing in what the boys, because the narrative was that, Americans were winning the war. Yes, they're winning the war, but your children are dying. Yeah. So their movies began to portray that. What that did at the time of their country, that's what they need. The point I'm trying to make is where we are as a nation, we need serious PR. We need to rebuild ours. We're not yet strong to the point where anybody can speak their truth, and it's okay. We're at the point where we need desperate, intentional efforts from citizens up, low, middle, to begin to build our brand. If not, we ain't going anywhere. So what you're saying about Americans today is an offshoot of what they've done over the years. Where we are as a nation, we've been broken up, in shambles. Our PR is poor. We need people who can see beyond today and begin to rebuild. So I hear you talk, but you're absolutely right. Speak your truth. But in speaking that truth in 2024, is it going to give you a 2050? Is it going to give a 2060? Would you build, or are we still just going to continue to speak our truth here to the detriment of our future? That's the point I want us to look at. I'll take this call and I'll come to you, Nima. Good morning. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. I love your program.
Thank you.
But what I want to add is the sister Software, what she said was right based on my own perception.
Yeah.
But I think when we continue to do something for a very long period of time, and it is not giving us the same result, I think we need to change pattern.
Yeah.
So this Davido format now, I think that is the right format to use now, because it is as if the leaders are not responsive to what is on ground. So I think when the shame and the public figure of the bad attitude and behaviors that are given Nigerians is put on the public space, I think they will amend their ways, because the problem and the shame that Nigerians are facing, is, even as Nigerians alone, is very, very bad. So it is good for us whenever we have the opportunity at any platform, whether in the UK, anywhere in the world, let us tell them how Nigeria is, what the leaders are doing, so that they can sit up. So I don't blame Sister for what she's saying.
Okay,
she said
thank you very much.
I have the opportunity
to assist you. Go ahead.
Okay, so Davido did something very responsible, and I stick to it. Davido is one of the privileged Nigerians who are dual citizens. He talks about his Atlanta background a lot. Did he do a service to the Nigerian who doesn't have that privilege? No, because that Nigerian needs an investor who would set up and create an enabling labor market that will give him life, that will empower him, that will employ him. What Davido has simply done is that when Asiwaju is taking a plane to country to look for the foreign investors that will come here, he has told them, don't come. Has he done a service to the average Nigerian inside Ede that does not know the royal family of Ede? Has he done a service to the Nigerians in Omwaron, who is in the bush trying to get wood? Has he done anybody a privilege in the rice farms in Bida? No, he hasn't. He has spoken whose truth? Of the elites. The people who spend the dollars, 1 minute, Sope, not the people who buy beans per pinto. We know that the country is hard. We know that these reforms were forced on us, because if we had continued to feed the elites, we would be worse off.
Yeah.
They had to take out subsidy, stop the payment. Allocation has increased to state governors, but we are not asking the governors.
No.
We have removed the supplement that we give to dollars so that we can buy it cheaply. We are now forced to buy it how we see it. And this is the real value. We are suffering under that weight. And what you can say is bad here. As if it's not bad. Did you hear the campaigns? During the elections, just the concluded election, did you hear the campaigns?
That's
of what the reality of America is. And Oprah would say it at elections, but she won't sit on a show or sit at a table and tell everybody, and tell a foreign interviewer what Davido did. And that's where it's wrong. Because you sat there, but now your reference point for whether they should go ahead and invest in the country. See, the point is, no matter how true your truth is, all your truth, if it's not going to be of service to your people, it's in the corridors where he could make that noise privately, but no, he chose to tell that person on it that America care, come where care. Whereas what we need is foreign investors. That's what our government has said we needed. Except Davido can show me 2-3 companies where he's producing beans, rice, the local food for the local man, so that he can be talking. Yes, we will know what you're talking, but you're still talking amongst yourselves. I don't see any privilege, any service he has done.
Let me take this call from Faith. He's calling from Kaduna. Thanks for calling. You're live. I'll let you.
Good morning.
Go ahead, Faith. You're live.
I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show, Faith.
Thank you. Morayo, everybody, Nima. I really appreciate this program. You people are on to.
Thank you.
We are, first of all, it's Grace, not Faith.
Oh, okay.
Grace.
To talk about the truth, yes. The truth. I didn't start it with you at first, but I liked what Antopper said. You know, the truth. Let's stand for the truth. Just this morning, I was listening to a radio program about a girl in the northern state in Sokoto. Do you know, due to the these problems of insecurity. A girl, she said, I don't know, this one is not a herdsman or bandit, or, you know, they are a kind of like people in the IDP camps. They will gang themselves and come out and rape girls, teenage girls, and rape their mothers, their parents in front of the husbands. You know, sorry, I am deviating a little bit, but I'm still emphasizing on this truth. We stand for the truth, you know. So this girl came out. She noticed, she's not even up to 19. She came out, she noticed that it is too much for her to get. It is too much if her country, if her governors, if her senators cannot stand. She came out and stood. She made a video. Do you know they came from everywhere, police, they arrested her. Everybody was accusing her that she's this, she's that, she's that. You know, nobody to stand for her anymore again. You know, she stood for the truth. That is what we are talking about. Now, look at this small teenage girl. She's standing for the truth. But nobody is standing to listen to her. Right. Not until somebody took up from her, from a radio station, Human Rights. He said they are going to go with her to any length she's going.
Okay.
You know, this is something we should pick and say. Truth is always truth, no matter what. Right. Let's not, irrespective of anywhere we are coming from or anything others are going to say.
Thank you very much, Grace. Go ahead, Mariam.
Yes, I wanted to speak to, you know, the movies that we were highlighting, you know, as examples of how they're telling their stories. And I've always noticed that the blacks have always told the story of drugs and racism. And usually their stories doesn't go far. In fact, it's seen almost as if it's a biased view of what they are going through, and this is not the whole of America. This is something that, yes, we're dealing with on a small scale. But the main stories that we see that go out, that were sold, are the stories that tell America, you know, is the greatest. And you know, the way they tell their stories, not just only against, I've seen other countries, especially Arabs and like Russia, say that when Americans are telling this story of great America, they put the Russians or the Arabs as the villains, you know. And somehow, whether we like it or not, we are likely to trust an American more than we trust a Russian or we trust an Arab because of that perspective. And they have perpetuated it long enough so that even when we hear what they say at elections, even when we hear their personal stories, we don't believe them. That is why a Nigerian who is abroad can say to his Nigerian who is still at home, don't come, it's hard. The person, if it's that hard, why are you there? Because you have refused to believe the person that is living that story, living the reality is the story that has been told, how they have marketed it, that you believe. So that goes to show us the importance of telling the story that we want people to believe and to work for. Because of that story, when people go there and find it difficult, they don't immediately cancel America. They think, then there's something I need to do so that I can have the American dream that people have. So that's what we're saying. We're not saying that we do not have our truth or that we're lying. We're saying that there are platforms where we must tell a particular story that highlights our strengths. Recently, there's this podcast that's been going around where the South Africans were talking about Nigerians. And, you know, the South African was talking about our network and our resilience and the fact that Nigerians in America are doing so great. Every Nigerian that saw that, you could see our shoulder went up. Yeah. We loved it. If we love it so much, why can't we tell those stories about
ourselves?
Yeah.
Others say it about us.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll come to you. I know I have a call. I'll come to you. Good morning. Are you there? We have to go on a break. Can you hold your thought? Yeah. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.